Why does an experienced climber ascend without ropes, but on the way down slips and vanishes into the abyss? Why did the French media call one day the Black Day of Mont Blanc? Why do even the most skilled mountaineers fall victim to the mountains? How did an experienced hiker fall 600 meters because of a single mistake? Let's find out. Brad Gobright, fall in Mexico, 2019, El Potrero Chico National Park, Mexico. American climber Brad Gobright and his partner were rappelling down a sheer cliff. Brad was a legend. Dozens of the hardest routes, worldwide fame, hundreds of thousands of fans. He was known not just for climbing, but for doing it without ropes where others never dared. That day, they chose the route Sendero Luminoso, 900 meters of smooth gray limestone. Everything went according to plan until the descent. On one section, Brad and his partner used the rappel technique. The rope slipped, and in a second, the irreversible happened. Tourists and climbers below witnessed the moment. News spread worldwide. One of the best climbers on the planet is gone. His death shocked the entire community, because this wasn't a risky solo climb. It was a normal descent, a routine moment, and often real danger hides in such small details. Tragedy on Pico de Orizaba, Mexico, 2023. The second highest peak in North America, Pico de Orizaba, over 5,600 meters tall. A group of climbers from a local club set out on an ascent. The weather was unstable, strong winds, avalanche risk, icy slopes in places, but the decision was made: go higher. At around 4,900 meters, the situation suddenly changed. Several members lost balance. A fall began, pulling the group down. When rescuers reached the site, it became clear this was one of the worst tragedies on Mexican peaks in recent years. Photos from the scene were published by all major agencies. You could see rescuers forcing their way through the snow while helicopters tried to reach the dangerous slope. This tragedy reminded everyone, even on popular mountains climbed by hundreds of tourists, danger can strike without warning. Accident on Mount Shasta, USA, 2025. California, Mount Shasta, a massive volcano rising over 4,300 meters. An experienced hiker set out for a solo climb. At first, everything was calm. Sunshine, good forecasts, a well-known route. But closer to the summit, the slopes turned icy. One wrong step, and he slipped. The slope was long and steep. According to rescuers, the man fell nearly 600 meters down. Witnesses called for help. Helicopters circled the slope, but there was no chance of survival. Local media and national outlets published images of the mountain, a white slope, the trail of the fall, and rescue teams at the base. This event was a reminder. Even if a mountain looks accessible and easy, at high altitude, mistakes are never forgiven. Collapse of the ice wall on Mont Blanc, France, 2018. The popular Gouda route. Thousands of climbers attempt it every year, but in summer the mountain becomes especially dangerous, melting ice and rockfalls. That day, a group of French and Italian climbers moved through an icy couloir. Suddenly, a massive block of ice broke away from the wall. In an instant, snow, ice, and rocks came crashing down. Rescuers arrived within minutes, but the tragedy had already unfolded. French media called it the Black Day of Mont Blanc. Photos from the scene appeared in newspapers worldwide, climbing boots, helmets, and gear partly buried under the snow. Once again, a lesson. The most famous tourist peaks can be just as deadly as the remote and unknown ones. Mount Manaslu, Nepal, 2022. The eighth highest mountain on Earth. Manaslu, 8,163 meters. Autumn in the Himalayas is climbing season. Dozens of expeditions, hundreds of climbers on the slopes. That day the weather turned suddenly. Hurricane-force winds, avalanches. Above 7,000 meters in the death zone, climbers were trapped. Several were swept down with the snow. Among the victims were seasoned athletes, Sherpa guides, and foreign tourists. Photos and videos from Manaslu went viral. Tents destroyed by the avalanche, helicopters trying to rescue the survivors. Global media called it the darkest day on Manaslu in recent years. Tragedy on Mount Elbrus, Russia, 2021. The Caucasus, Mount Elbrus, the highest point in Europe, 5,642 meters. A group of 19 climbers attempted the summit as the weather worsened rapidly. First came snow, then stronger winds, and temperatures dropped to -20. At about 5,200 meters, panic began. Some climbers started losing strength. Rescuers received a distress signal. Dozens from the emergency services set out onto the mountain. The operation lasted all night and through the next day. Many were saved, but several never returned. This became the deadliest tragedy in the history of commercial climbs on Elbrus. Images of rescuers leading people through the blizzard spread across the media.